Amitakiapi. So I'm gonna plant some potatoes today. It's really nice, like 70 degrees. We got the garden tilled yesterday and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I wanna get these in the ground before it rains. I'm joined by a few of my chickens also. So I've laid out my supplies and my potatoes. The cool thing about potatoes is you can actually plant them earlier in the spring. So in South Dakota, they recommend not planting till mid-May, but because the potatoes are in the ground, they'll actually be okay if you plant them in April, like I'm doing now. So as you can see, my potatoes don't look like the potatoes you're probably going to recognize because they have incredibly long eyes on them. These are actually the potatoes that I harvested last fall, and I keep them in the basement because it's cool and dark down there and they'll last longer. And I'd say they stay good until about February, and then they start to get soft and grow their eyes on them. And obviously I don't throw them out because I can plant them again. Usually people will cut their potatoes in half or in quarters and plant them, but I'm not going to do that just because I've got quite a few, and the reason that you might do that is to basically get more out of the seed that you have. So I also have potatoes that I actually got from the tribe down here. These would be good ones to cut in half. And if you are going to cut your potatoes before planting them, they recommend not cutting through those eyes. Cut to avoid them, and make sure you have 2 or 3 eyes like these on the pieces that you have. And you should also leave them out to dry in a warm, dry place for a day or two, just so that they get kind of a hard coating on the cut portions, so that you can avoid any kind of disease once you do plant them. So I also have some of my tools here, just some small hand tools that I may or may not need, a few different hoes, and a rake. I do recommend, if you go to any auctions, buy tools at the auctions. Because the tools that they make today don't hold up as well as the ones from 30, 40, 50 years ago. Some of these tools, like these two right here, are actually pretty old. So in addition to having these, I also have a plan for my garden that I completed a few weeks ago, and I'm going to be following that plan for where I plant. Some people don't always make those. Oh, here's Fatty also. He came to help. Some people don't make plans, some do. I strongly recommend it, just because you need to know where you're going to plant things. It'll make it go a little bit faster. And you want to make sure that you don't plant stuff that shouldn't be together. There's more chickens. You also should be rotating your garden every year. Some plants, like corn, will take a lot of nutrients out of the ground, and you need to make sure that you rotate your crops so that things will thrive and grow well. Otherwise they may not. So we're gonna get started here in just a minute. Okay, so I've started planting my potatoes. I've got some of them in and the dirt already covering them. And then here's the rest that are just sitting in there. I haven't covered them up yet. When you plant potatoes, they should be about 3 inches deep and 12 inches apart. And then the rows should be 3 feet apart. I certainly don't use a ruler or anything. I usually use my hands and feet to measure, and I do a lot of eyeballing. You do want to make sure that your plants have enough space between them to grow. If they don't have enough space, then their growth and production could be stunted. So do keep that in mind when you're planting. As your potatoes grow, you'll continue to mound dirt over them as well. So that's how they look. to begin with. Got a few rows in. Just an important note on watering. When you're planting your garden, it's really important to give it a lot of good water. Sometimes I'll water the hole first, then put the seed in, water it again, cover it up, water it. You can also soak your seeds before you plant them. I didn't put water in this time as I was planting because we are expecting rain tomorrow. And it's obviously very important to have a good water source with your garden. We don't have one out in this spot, so I actually have to carry water out here if it doesn't rain on a regular basis. But one important note is there's a huge difference in growth patterns between the water that comes out of your faucet and rainwater. I see a huge spike in growth after it's rained, and specifically after it's actually stormed. I don't know if there are electrolytes or something that come through that water. It has a different nutrients. Obviously the water that comes out of your tap has been treated by whatever city or county you live in. So the water that comes straight from the sky is often way better than what you can get out of the faucet. So just an important note, make sure your garden has lots of water because they like it. And so we're done planting potatoes. We'll move on to something else next. Doksta.